Okay guys, my medicine for my FET cycle has arrived and I am doing a quick unboxing here. I kind of opened it upside down because on the front it has the packaging information. I didn't want to tear a hole through that. But I'm going to tell you something. This is the lightest, shortest, quickest unboxing I've ever had to do for any of my fertility cycles, because I usually get these big huge boxes full of medicine, but because this is only an FET, I don't have that much. So let's see what we got. The only thing we have really is endometrium. I don't miss these things, but at least they come with applicators. That's more than I can say about them little bitty old estradiol pills. I think I still got plenty of these from my previous cycle. I don't know what they expiration dates are. Let me see. This one says 2023, so they last about a good 3 years. So that means that the old ones may still be some good. So if anybody out there needs some endometrium, let me know, because the old ones probably are still some good, because it ain't been 3 years. So if they last 3 years, that means that the old ones are still good. And I also have a lot of ganirelix. Not sure why I got all these ganirelix, but they told me that they were giving me the ganirelix because, of course, with previous cycles, I have a tendency of ovulating when not expected. However, I didn't have to use ganirelix with the last FET, so I shouldn't have to use it this time. And these are just some additional insert tablets here. So this is all I gotta take for this cycle. For now, I do have a history of subchorionic hematoma, so that means that I have a high chance of getting it again. And if that should happen, they may add some progesterone in oil at a later date, but I'm not going to speak that into existence. I'm praying that everything goes well and I don't have to worry about that, because that is the most horrible medication a person have to inject. So I have another package here. This one came today. Let's see if I can open this up with one hand. Without cutting myself. Doing a fairly good job here. This one is a small box. I believe this is just additional estradiol, since they have me taking a lot more early on in this cycle than they did my last FET cycle. So they wanted to make sure I didn't run out of these itty bitty pills. So yes, more of these itty bitty pills. Okay, ladies, the unboxing is done. Just wanted to show this to you. Have a great day. Hey, ladies, good morning. It's Sandra, TTC 45. And I am headed to the RE clinic this morning for hopefully will be my final monitoring and blood work before my frozen embryo transfer schedule. Now that is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday the 3rd, which is election day, and I have already voted, so thank God that's out of the way. And hopefully it continues to be that day, because that would actually be even though I believe this year's results is not going to be revealed probably for another month or two, if not longer, there's so much controversy around the voting by mail, so many things that are happening that should not be happening, and as a result, a lot of the mail-in ballots may not even be ready by election day, and people are still mailing in they ballots. So I just don't think that we would know who would be our president on election day, but just following the story of it will help me keep my mind occupied, especially during a 2-week wait, because I don't plan to test beforehand, because as you saw from the last time, I was went on a pee on a stick bowl, and I just became an addict, and I just didn't want to go through that hardship again. I mean, it wasn't really a hardship, but it's just unnecessary spending of money, and it can also be stressful. So, as I've stated always at the beginning of this journey, that I want to be patient with this journey, so I'm going to patiently wait for my beta. Hopefully the beta will be in 10 days like it usually is. I'm not sure with this pandemic how they're scheduling things. To me, it seems like they're scheduling things a lot more longer away than they was before the pandemic. But I don't know. Last time I had my beta done on the 11th day, because the 10th day fell on a Sunday, and that's one thing they're not going to do, is schedule you to come in on a Sunday or a holiday unless you're doing a retrieval or a transfer. They don't do monitoring. Well, they do monitoring on Saturdays, but not on Sundays. But the only thing they schedule on Sundays and holidays usually are the procedures. So yes, I'm so glad that this part of the journey is almost coming to an end, because I didn't have to take anything, as you can see from the opening video, nothing really but the S-trace. I did get some ganirelics just in case I have to shoot myself to keep a mature follicle from ovulating, but so far all my follicles have remained small. But this is the reason why I'm going in for a monitor this morning, to make sure they continue to remain small. And if all goes well, I'm assuming that I will continue on with my transfer date on Tuesday. I just don't know the time yet. I guess I'll find that out in my portal message. And I'm gonna definitely ask them if they still do 10-day betas. So I'm excited, ladies. I'm excited. I do have, my emotions do kind of go back and forth as I get close to the transfer date, but I realized I went through the same thing when I was trying to conceive Pebbles. And I believe it's just normal when you're a woman of my age. You have these up and down emotions, and the emotions be like, you know, should I do it? Should I not? Should I do it? Should I not? At least when I do tell myself, yes, I'm going to do it, I'm all excited about doing it. More so than being sad about it. So, but looks like I'm going to be on time for a change. I'm never on time. Last time they was pretty crowded, so I don't know what it's going to be like today. Hopefully I get in and out, because I do have to get back to work. I do have my acupuncture schedule. I'm going to do acupuncture Monday, which is the day before retrieval. I'm going to do it Tuesday, which is the day of retrieval. And I'm going to do it Wednesday, which is the day after retrieval. I only paid for a 6-session acupuncture. And so the other other 3 I'm going to hold tight on. I told my acupuncture doctor that I was going to save those 3 for once I get pregnant. Of course, if I don't get pregnant, I can use it for the next cycle. So one way or another, I'm still going to be using whether I'm pregnant or not. But at least if I get pregnant and I get hit with that unfortunate SCH, which is very common in women who go through IVF, and is really common in women who have had it in previous pregnancies. And since I've had it in a previous pregnancy and I'm doing IVF, I have a higher chance of getting SCH again, but I'm going to pray that I don't. And if I do get it, I'm going to pray that it's less effective like it was the last time. I mean, even though I know about it now because I've gone through it, I'm still going to react the same if it happens, because that's every woman's nightmare, is to see a whole lot of bleeding coming from them while they're pregnant, because your mind is just going in every which direction. You want to hope for the best, but you got to prepare yourself for the worst. So in the event that that does happen, I want to do acupuncture at that time. Not to say that acupuncture helps, because I don't know. I mean, there's no science to say it does. But I want to try to do things pretty much similar to what I did the last time, so I can be sure to carry a healthy baby. I am still doing well with my blood pressure. I'm very proud of myself. My blood pressure has been awesome. I actually took a trip to my cardiologist last week, and she told me I had the best blood pressure out of all her patients that day. We both was very happy about that. And I explained to her, she wanted to know what did I do different. And I explained to her that one thing. I said I started back using my CPAP. And I said within a week after using my CPAP, maybe 2, give or take, my blood pressure started returning to normal. And she was like, ugh, I wish I could use you in a commercial. And I asked her why she said that, and she said because she have been trying to tell a lot of her patients how important it is to use their CPAP and what the CPAP can do, and they, you know, still refuses to use it. And I believe her, because I have family members who were diagnosed with having sleep apnea and they refuse to use a CPAP. I mean, it doesn't matter which way you try to get them to do it, they won't do it. My boss, same with her, she started off using it and she didn't like it and she ended up sending it back. And so I can't speak for others, and I'm definitely not an advocate of any company, but I will say to you ladies who are TTCing out there, if you have been diagnosed with sleep apnea and they suggest you use a CPAP, use a CPAP. Because everything they say about what happens to the body when you're not getting enough rest and you're periodic stopping breathing in your sleep actually happens. And I'm living proof of that, because when I had my last blood work done, one of my tests, and I don't even remember what the name of that test was, because my primary did a whole lot of tests. And typically when I get my test results back, I always go and I research what's the normal range for that particular result. And if it's one of those tests that I never heard of, I always go research what that test is and why do the doctors test you for that. And I had a test on there, which I wished I did a video on it, because I don't know the name of the test right now. But I had a test on there that I had never heard of. And so I went and I looked it up to see And usually I only do that for the test results that are outside the normal range, because the laboratory that my primary care uses, they usually, and that's not with all the testers, but I would say 90% of the testers that they do, even with pregnancy testers, beta testers, 90% of the testers that they do, they give you a range of what that result should be. And when mine's is outside of that range, whether it be below the range or above the range, I always want to go check and find out what it is and how it's affecting me. And this particular test was outside of the range. I don't remember if it was high or low. But when I went and I read about that particular test, and when I read, why some tests is high and some tests is low, it was saying because it was an early indication of heart disease. And that freaked me out. That really freaked me out, because I have all the medical conditions that can lead to heart disease. On top of that, I'm getting these high numbers, high readings, and blood pressure. I was getting real concerned. And so I realized that my CPAP was saving me from a lot of damage to my heart. And so as a result, I started back using my CPAP. And if you ladies are not using your CPAP, please use your CPAP. Even if it's not for TTC, use it just for your own health, your own safety and well-being. Because it can be a lifesaver. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find a filter for my mask. I had some in here, but my children, unfortunately, I have to call my adult kids children. They love to take stuff out of my car without asking me. And I don't have one, so I just put a mask on. I'm at the clinic, by the way. So I'll finish this conversation when I come out of the clinic, and I should be out very quick. All right, it's my date with Wanda. I'm here. All right, ladies, I'm back. That was quick. My lining is at a 13, which is great. I just gotta wait now for the portal message letting me know what my estradiol and progesterone is, and I should be starting the progesterone, I believe, tomorrow, unless they made any changes. And I did forget to ask them about the beta. Hopefully they'll put it in the portal. If not, I asked them last time. She even said when I came in there that was going to be her last day seeing me. Until, of course, if I'm pregnant, then she'll see me afterwards. But that'll be the last time before the FET. So I'm all set. Just gotta wait for my portal message to find out what's the next step. And everything looks good. Follicles are all small, which is good, because Lord knows I don't want to have to take that ganirelix shot. That was that shot that itched me in the injection area, and I had to use anti-itch cream to keep the shot from hurting me. From itching me after I injected. So, but yeah, as I was explaining before I went into my appointment about the sleep apnea, you guys really need to, if you have sleep apnea, you really need to be using your CPAP. It works wonders, and it avoid a lot of additional medical issues that you don't want. One thing that I also know it affects is blood sugars. I learned that from my not a reproductive endocrinology. I have an endocrinologist. I have an endocrinologist that I see for my diabetes. And she told me that sleep apnea interferes with your blood sugars. If you're not using the CPAP, it's going to throw your blood sugars off. So when you're not using your CPAP, anything that has to do with the heart or connected to the heart is going to be thrown off. So it is very important. And if you don't know that you have sleep apnea, like I didn't know I had sleep apnea, two of the most important signs, A, is snoring. And I've always been a snorer. I've been snoring since I was a kid. B, lack of rest. If you are always tired and sleepy, even after you think you've had a good night rest, you went to bed early, you slept like a baby, and you're still trying to figure out why am I so sleepy, that may be a sign, because that's definitely how I asked my doctor to test me. I was just getting too sleepy all the time. I was just totally fatigued, and she was testing for other medical conditions that causes fatigue. And all of those tests was coming back normal. And I did my own little research as to what causes fatigue, and one of the things that came up was sleep apnea. And so when I read about sleep apnea, I read about the causes and how it affects the body and ways you can know that you have it. And one of the big things it notated was headaches, which I've been suffering from headaches for a long time, and also snoring. And if I would have known snoring was a sign of sleep apnea, I would have got tested a long time ago. But I did not know snoring was a sign of sleep apnea. So after reading that, I asked my doctor to test me, and I thank God I did that, because I learned that I did have sleep apnea. And now, after I just had this blood pressure scare, I learned that using your CPAP is very important. So if you don't know if you have CPAP, if you don't know if you have sleep apnea, but you have those signs, I would suggest you ask for a sleep study. It doesn't hurt to ask for it. They're either going to say yes or no. They may say you have mild sleep apnea, but it doesn't require a CPAP. And then they may say you have moderate to severe sleep apnea that does require a CPAP. And if it does require it, please use it, because it would avoid a lot of other damage to your body that us as African Americans ignore. You know, that's why we are the #1 when it comes to heart disease, heart attacks, strokes, because we don't listen to our bodies, and we don't go and get the necessary testing that needs to be done so that they can correct these issues before it gets to that point. So make sure that you're looking for those signs, and if you already know that you have it, use it. Okay? Now I'm going to add more to this video once I get the portal message to let you guys know when my scheduled FET is going to be, which at this point is scheduled for Tuesday. I don't think it's going to change, but just in case it may change. And the time and what's my next steps, because the next video that I upload would actually be the day of the FET, on my way going to the FET. Okay, ladies, so stick around. Okay, guys, so I got the text that I have a portal message, so I am going to go in here and check the message. I hate going through all of this. I have to go through this every time just to get into the portal. And then we're going to go up to one new message. And it say instruction as of October the 28th, which is today. It say you are ready to start your progesterone support starting tomorrow, and from then on you will use 1 tablet of endometrial 3 times per day and 1 full cc of progesterone in oil each evening. Now, I wasn't told about the in oil because I don't even have that. So I'm going to have to email them back and tell them that I have no in oil because they did not tell me I had to take it. So always some doggone changes. Continue as trace as you have been. Your transfer is scheduled for November the 3rd. We will send a porter message the day before to give you instructions and an arrival time. So I don't have an arrival time for that yet. And this just tells me how to administer the in oil. I think that the in oil was a mistake because, for one, they would have done a nurse consult with me about the in oil, and they did. So I think that was a mistake. So I'm going to email them back and ask them about that. So now I'm going to go and check the lab results to see what labs that they do. And they did the estradiol. The estradiol is at 1136, so that's not too bad. They said the highest that they wanted to be is 1300, so it's not over that. And the progesterone is still what they want it to be. And let me see the ultrasound. The ultrasound just ain't gonna say much except for, what size my ovaries was. It was greater than a 10. And then it tells you what size the follicle was. So that's it for now. I'm gonna go ahead and send this email back and ask them about the in oil shots. Lord knows I don't want to take that, but I don't have any of that anyway, so I won't be doing that. Even if they called it in, I wouldn't get that this fast, so I'm not even worried about it. So I will add more on this soon as I get the email respond back. Hold tight. Okay, guys, so I got to respond back. Let's open it up and see what it say. Lord, please say that they're not going to include these in-oil injections. So it say, sorry about the confusion. The results, nurse will send you a new porter message with the corrected instructions shortly. Okay, I did get a new message. Let me go, and then this is the new message. It said, you are ready to start your progesterone support starting tomorrow, and from then on you will use 1 tablet of endometrium 3 times per day. Continue as trace as you have been. Your transfer is scheduled for November the 3rd. We will send a porter message the day before to give you instruction and arrival time. If you have any questions, please give us a call. See that, ladies? No in oil injections. Thank God. I lost my video. Anyway, I was getting nervous. I'm not even gonna lie. I am glad that they did not include that. Not that they won't, though. They didn't include it last cycle, but when I ended up with that SCH, I ended up having to take it. So it's not included as of now, but that don't mean it won't get included. So anyway, ladies, that's all for today. I'm all scheduled for Tuesday, which will be 5 days from tomorrow, so that'll come around in no time. And I thank you, ladies, for following me on this journey. Continue to follow me and hit that like and subscribe if you haven't, if you want to know whether or not this cycle is going to work. Also, still praying for those who are along with me with this journey. I've been following a lot of young ladies who's going through this, and some of them are having missed cycles, and hoping and praying that they pee on the stick. It's going to be positive, and they're in a testing phase. So I pray for those big fat peas for you ladies. Also pray for those who have had to repeat the cycle because the cycle failed. I know that can be heartbreaking at times, and you just want to give up because you get tired of going through the process. But never give up, ladies. It's eventually going to happen. You just got to keep praying and keep making sure you're doing what you need to do to make sure that you get these big fat peas. All right, ladies, I will be talking to you on Tuesday. Make sure you guys get out there and vote if you haven't. Bye.